Sorry guys, I'm still setting up. Hello Bestie Guy! Hello Raiders! Hello Modzep! I hope you guys had a wonderful stream. Hello, welcome. How are you guys doing? What were you doing tonight? Were you playing Castlevania, Bestie? I think I saw it. You were doing a stream where I could see I saw your TV. I hope you guys had a wonderful time though, and if you need to take a break, go grab a time zone meal or grab some water because you've been staring at screens and you forgot. Make sure you take care of yourselves. Please do. Hello, Seth. Welcome, welcome. Let me go ahead and say hi to every Hammie really fast, actually. Wow, nobody's hit first yet. It took 3 hours, but I wrecked Dracula. Hell yeah. I hope you mean in a fight. 3 hour first try. Hell yeah! Bestie coming in clutch and grabbing that first. Oh no, oh no. Take second and third too, Kai. Oh no, oh no. Oh my god, I'm gonna go ahead and say hello to every Hammie while you guys fight over that. Hello Super Manager, hello Yalarian, hello Blackberry, and then hello Raiders, and Bestie again. No, the absolute madman, he did it. He did it. We love to see it. We love a Bestie victory. Anyway, hi, I hope you guys are having a wonderful Friday, happy weekend and all that, you know? Got him. I warmed up a little bit because I was feeling a little nervous about drawing on stream, but I think I'm ready to make some Puyohams. I don't know how many we'll get through tonight. And also, I just wanted to go ahead and mention, I have my list from last time. I might not follow it. I might not follow it like beat by beat. Just because I know last time I had a few Puyos I really had to put some thought into the concept a little bit more, so I didn't go through them as quickly. So yeah, I'm gonna draw from my fart. Hi Graham, welcome, welcome, hello, hello. But yeah, no, I just wanted to give that little disclaimer because I'm feeling a little like all over, not all over the place really, but some of them I feel like I can see in my head a little easier, and I don't want to get too stumped and be like sitting here like rubbing my chin and nodding sagely for 3 hours being like, oh man, I think this is how I want to do this. But yeah, no, we're gonna make some Puyohams. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna listen to some music, and that's also gonna be fun. You guys are gonna judge me for my music tastes, and that's okay. Cool as Puyoham. I want to make a cool as Puyoham. What the hell? I want that. I want that really bad, actually. I unfortunately turned off the requests for now, but I'm adding that to my list. I don't care. It's gonna be like I should give him like a little like Naruto headband and put the cool S on it. Man, you know what? I'm actually like ripping through these concepts. I'm doing amazing. Anyway, hi! Hello! Did I already say happy Friday? I think I did already say happy Friday. Hello, Major! Welcome, welcome! You ready for the doodles? I'm ready for the doodles. Thank you so much for 16 months. I'm very, very honored and glad to have you in my community. Merry Frimus. Cool S with arms, legs, and a hamster face. So when you started saying that, I was thinking of Trogdor a little bit. With arms and legs. But a hamster face would be... Excuse me. Hamster face would be really good too. Oh man. Trogdor was a man. I haven't watched Trogdor in 500 years. I feel like this ages me. I know I should. I feel like the yawn jar is probably a lot more productive than the swear jar. Did you guys hear about the VTuber that got demonetized because she yawned in stream and they demonetized her video? I'm worried that's gonna happen to me. Because I yawn literally every 5 minutes. What the hell is wrong with me? Yeah, no, there was a VTuber, I saw her talking about it on Twitter, and yeah, YouTube demonetized one of her videos because it was like she yawned and they said that they labeled it as sexual for some reason. Like a moan. You can literally just bleh. It's true. I don't know. It's crazy. Bestie, help, no one knows Homestar Runner when I reference it. I only know Trogdor, and I'm so sorry for that because I know that makes me so fake. But yeah, no, I agree with Super Manager. It is a skill issue and you are superior because of it. I agree. But I'm just kind of always like, I want to be in Bestie's corner. If I don't understand Homestar Runner, that is my fault. Always throwing down Teen Girl Squad. No one knows. Teen Girl Squad sounds badass. I want to be a part. Do you guys want to see my awful... I love him so much. I say awful, but please understand, it comes from a place of love. But I got my Pim plushie today, and if you're not in the Discord, you probably didn't see him, but I'm gonna show him to you, and I'm gonna show you him in the most cryptic, weird-ass way possible, because I do not want to adjust my webcam for this. So, un momento, por favor. I'm gonna show you guys myself. Uh-oh, it doesn't want to work. It doesn't want to work. What the hell? It doesn't want to work. Why? What's going on? Did I unplug it? Did it get unplugged or something? Bruh. USB. Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay, there's my ceiling. There's my ceiling, okay? Don't be weird. There's my ceiling. Trogdor at the next karaoke. Thank you for the check-in, Tiny Kisa. So... this is my Pim plushie. Irregular, funded it off my, throne, and... this is so jank. Look at him! Look at him! You're gonna be weird about my ceiling? Don't be weird about my ceiling. Fuck off with that kind of attitude. Don't stay. But look at him. He's so insane. He's so cute. He's so cute. It's the fuck-ass Pim bootleg plushie. I can't even get him right side up. Hold on. No, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. You can look at him upside down. But yeah, look at this thing. Look at this thing. He is a affront to God. It's crazy. I love him. I'm gonna hug him right now. I'm hugging him. And I love him. And he's the greatest. So many of these angles are so meme-worthy. They really are. Hi, Onee-ham. Hello, Roden. Welcome, welcome. I hope you're doing well and not working too hard. Please make sure you're drinking water, of course. Looks like Pim from the short where he got eye surgery. Oh no, you're absolutely right, and we're gonna observe that again. I'm gonna observe that again, actually. Here's my ceiling again. He does look like Pim after getting eye surgery. His eyes are so tiny. His eyes are so tiny. I'm obsessed. Excuse me, sorry. But yeah, no, I love him. I would die for him, actually. I feel the love of Ham Nation when I hold him. Pimitis. Pimitis is what I wanted to say at first. Pimitis. Just chilling today. That's good. That's good. We like a good chill day. A good chill Friday. Hopefully your weekend is full of chillness. Dude, holy crap, I'm so fucking tired, chat. We're gonna do our best tonight. We're gonna really do our best tonight. Hello, Angry Seal. Welcome, welcome. Congrats on your 10 stream streak. Dang. You guys are getting some big numbers, and I'm like, part of me each time is just kind of like, I stream that much? I got 3 hours of eep, so every time you yawn, I yawn. That just means you're not a psychopath, though. That means you have empathy. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with me. I feel like I sleep pretty good last night, but I think overall, not again. Oh my god. But yeah, no. I just hi and okay, guy. Thank you for the lurk. Honestly, I don't know why I'm so tired. I took my Adderall today and it kind of felt like I feel like I just I don't know. I'm just tired. I'm stupid. Bestie, I got a Kai guy with 50+ stream streak that does not follow you? How does he know? How does he know? That's scary. Why doesn't he follow you? What's his problem? Go follow Bestie. Everybody, did you get a shout out, by the way? Did you? I think you did. Did you get a shout out? I don't think you got a shout out. He did? Okay. I don't know. Don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about, like, any given point. Super Manager is dedicated and perfect. I agree. Stream Elements is the one that isn't dedicated and perfect. Because it doesn't want to show me everything, ever. Super Manager is so awesome. Oh my god, Jesus Christ. Yeah! Amazing, amazing. Hi, Lucid. Welcome, welcome. I'm gonna sit here and yawn at you guys, and then I'm gonna be like, actually, guys, I'm too tired to do anything. I'm going to bed. Good night. I'm not gonna do that, but, yeah. I don't know, like, I feel like I slept well last night, right? I feel like I slept well last night. But honestly, my overall, like, insomnia has been, like, giving me a run for my money lately, which is also why I had such a bad not crash out. I wouldn't say I had a crash out last week. I had kind of a burnout. That's the word I'm looking for. I had a burnout last week, and then I got sick, and then I died, and now I'm alive again. Alive questionably, yeah. And, yeah. That's where that brings us to now, doesn't it? Hold on, I gotta move my model down, just like Jesus. Jesus Hamster. Bro, chat, follow Super Manager, they're the best. I agree, they are. The Super Manager is the best, she's awesome. Hamela Christ. I don't know, we're gonna start pissing some people off on Twitch if we start going that route. Oh my goodness. But in other words, Jesus is your co-pilot after all. It's true. He is my co-pilot, and more often than not, we are cruising for pussy. Prayer hands emoji. My hamster has gotten too strong. Someone please stop her. Everyone should donate to Ray so she can get a spa day. I want a spa day too, actually. That sounds really nice. Me using the wrong expression. Yeah, I was kind of tired, so I went insane beast mode. See, I need to start saying beast mode more often. Sometimes I call Mr. Bark a beast, and you know, that's pretty awesome. Donate to Hammie, and Hammie will treat me to a spa day. Yeah, I need yeah. Just tell me it's for Super Manager. I'll make sure it gets where it needs to go. She's here so she can chase me if I slack off, you know. Everyone should donate extra to Hammie to treat both Hammie and Ray to a spa day. That'd be kind of awesome, actually. I want a day where I can sit in a hot tub for at least like a half hour or so. I don't know what the like doctor recommendation for how long you sit in a hot tub, so I'm not gonna talk about it too much, but like I would go crazy town on a hot tub right about now because my knees would love that. My knees would love that. That's a low standard big dog. I'm a simple hamster. I don't want a whole lot. I just want my stupid fuck ass bootleg Pim plushie and a trip to the hot tub. Very easy to please. I mean, like, I'll take Yowie if you want to send it my way. I mean, like, I did use all of my donos a couple weeks ago to buy Toga Inu no Chi, so you know. What you need is a deep tissue massage and muscle therapy to release tension and any knots in the shoulders. Ah, that sounds really nice, actually. Yeah, I think you're right. Because it's like, I can't really do that on my own. You need the help of another person. But I'm gonna be honest, my skin's been so dry and itchy lately that I feel like I'm, like, terrified to let anybody near it. My shoulders are so bad. The winter kind of kicks my ass. I'm itchy, I'm tired, and I'm just gonna complain to you for 3 hours. That's where we're at. Man, dry skin is the only bad part of winter. Yeah, it really is, because it's like I have a back scratcher, but it's a little too much. It's a little too much because it's made out of metal, and I'm like, what if I scratch myself too much? Juicy top 5 toothpastes for Yuri lovers? What's that? Tell me. It also helps you sleep since you can relax and not feel any tension. I want that. I want that for me. I want that. I want a good snoozer. I tell every Hammie even to have a good snoozer all the time, and I just want a good snoozer myself too. I did invest recently into a new eye mask. Yeah, new eye mask for sleeping because I had this one that worked really, really well, right? It was like, I don't even know how to describe it. It was nice and cold, and it has like a hole for your eyes. Yeah, it has like a hole for your eyes. And then you have the fabric that like covers you entirely, like the very front of the mask, you know? Sorry, for some reason my Discord was going off. We can't have that, so I guess I'm gonna turn it on Do Not Disturb for now. 8 hours should be enough, right? 8 hours should be enough. But yeah, no, I got a new mask, and last time I bought a mask, I was like, oh, the one I got, I really, really liked it, but, it was kind of expensive, so I think I'll cut off a few dollars and get a different one that's a little cheaper. That was the worst idea. That was the worst fucking idea, because I got it, and it was like, it's Velcro-y, and it gets stuck in my hair, and I don't like it, so I ended up buying an entirely new one, and now I feel like an idiot. By the way, bestie, my bath is a jetted tub. Come over, bro. I'll run errands for a few hours and you can go to town. I would like sit there. I would sit there with my phone and just watch TikTok until you got back. I'm so simple. I'm so simple and easy to please. Me and Grim can hang out. We'll watch the kitties. We'll watch the kitties. And also a hot tub time machine. Got an eye mask. Realized I can't sleep with that kind of stuff on my face and ended up giving it to Aunt. I know, it's kind of weird. Mine's kind of a funny thing, because I had really bad insomnia in high school, and hi, Mr. Bark. Wonder what he's barking at. I was gonna cosplay Okita Sogo from Gintama. Here, I'll show you guys. I'll show you guys what he looks like if you don't know. Hold on a second. And so I got excited and I bought his eye mask thingy. Let me see if I can find a picture where he has it on his person. Yeah, this'll work. This'll work. So anyway, I had this really sick eye mask of this character. Oh, this is gonna be kind of a crunchy photo, but you know, it's fine. I wanted to cosplay this asshole, and I got his eye mask, and one day I was like laying in bed, I was like, what if I tried it on actually? I mean, I haven't cosplayed it yet, but I haven't cosplayed him, but I ended up putting it on, and I had the fattest nap I think I had ever had, and this was in high school. And but it's really funny because I actually never ended up cosplaying this guy. I really wanted to. I love this character. I love this character so much. He's such a little cunt. I shouldn't say it like that, but I love him. But I also, I was told that I would probably make a really good Kagura because like constantly, here, I'll show you guys what Kagura looks like too. You need to cosplay him so I can be Gin. I still kind of want to cosplay Kagura, if I'm being honest, because Kagura is a lot like me. I get told I'm like her a lot because I think it's the gap moe, because she looks really cute and then she says awful things. Like, she probably also says the C word. She probably also says the C word, and you know... But also, she's like a teenage girl, and I can pass as a teenage girl in person. Unfortunately, but at times, I don't know. I worry because it's just like 32-year-old girl thinks she looks like she passes as a teenager. But I did pass it. I did pass as a teenager for trick-or-treating with my nieces. So, you know. What is happening in my chat? I look away to go look for... I look away for a second to go grab some pictures of these characters I want to cosplay. And you guys are talking about feet. You're talking about feet. Okay, hold on. I found a picture. Give me a second. She's really cute. I'm just looking at her and thinking about how cute she is. Oh my god. I don't think I can achieve that cuteness. I'm gonna be so real with you. Oh, here's her figure. I think I have this figure. Do I have this figure? I think I might have this figure. I can't remember anymore. Anyway, can I please save this picture? I hate web. I hate WebP. My kingdom for WebP to downfall. I don't know, I'm tired. Honestly, Bessie, just run with it. It means you take care of yourself. I'm trying. We're in a perpetual state of doing our best. Let me save this picture. Okay, I'm gonna just screen cap it, whatever. Okay, it won't let me screen cap it either. Anyway, just Google Kagra Gintom. I give up. Keep my toes out of your goddamn mouth. What is happening? Let's all just hot tub, hot chocolate, and Moomin. I want this so badly. I think in the server earlier, Owen posted a clip from Moomin, and I was like, oh, I really want to watch Moomin. If I had a little bit more energy to be able to stay up and watch like a very chill thing, I would definitely vouch to say Moomin tonight, but also I think it would put me to sleep. I've been falling asleep at about 10 each night ever since I got sick. Did you know that WebP is Windows trying to monopolize image formats because it's patented and they're trying to get Apple to pay for their usage? Me lying for evil purposes. I can't tell if you're joking. I don't know how computers work. You can't say that kind of shit to me and not expect me to believe it. You know, you know, it sounds right though. It sounds right. Can I just please get a picture of this character? Here, okay. Okay, I'm just gonna get it off the wiki. What do you mean that's also WebP? I'll kill you. In Minecraft. No, it's just an image format. I'll kill you. Never had a massage, but oh boy, I could use one. I feel like if you have insomnia, you should get one free massage per year. I don't know how we would accomplish that, but I think it would be kind of cool. Is this a picture I can save? Please, for the love of God, just let me have it. I'm tired of looking. I don't want to do anything, and... Oh. No, WebP. Oh my god. Okay, guys, my spirit is broken. I can't do it. Anyway, hi. Yeah, you can fish. I heard good things of WebP from image format nerds, but I just like to stir the pot. You know, that's completely fair. You know, like, I'm not one to typically rage bait unless I have something really good I can rage bait with, but I do like watching other people get rage baited, and typically I fall for rage bait too. It's just kind of the person I am. I think I have like the, I think I'm... Honestly, I sometimes I feel like mentally I'm just like a little old lady sometimes because I'm stubborn when it comes to learning computers. I don't like to do anything. I don't like to leave my house. You know. I've had a few chiropractor appointments and adjustments, but not massages. I mostly live vicariously through TikTok massage videos. I like the ones where the dogs get the massage. It's really cute. I used to go to a chiropractor in, I think this was back in like 2017, 2016 or something. Because I was having weird pain in my like my shoulders and stuff. I can't remember why I went, but I had the most weird, I had the most weird ass chiropractor where he would crack my back and he would be like, I would love to do this to like major political individual. And I'd just be like, holy shit, man, okay, just don't kill me. Don't give me a stroke, I'm begging you. Needless to say, I kind of stopped going, I stopped going to the chiropractor after that because I moved to California shortly after, but I don't really look back. I feel like going to a chiropractor, I don't know anything like, I'm not gonna say anything because I'm not a professional, but I do feel like ever since I went to the chiropractor, I feel like it's a lot harder for me to like pop some of my joints that get really uncomfortable now because they're so used to being popped in a certain way because of the chiropractor. Wait, did they say that in an evil way? Like they hated the political figure? Yeah, exactly. That's what they said it in an evil way, which like it was fine because like I was like, okay, bro, yeah, that's chill. Hi, Carol, welcome. But I was kind of like, you're talking about like how you want to do this to major political figure, and you're not trying to kill me, are you? You're implying. What you're implying here makes me feel really weird right about now. I know that if a chiropractor fucks up cracking your neck, it can legitimately cause you to have a stroke. Yeah, that's one reason why I also don't go to the chiropractor anymore. Oh, yeah, he was really strange. And like, you know, it really didn't bother me. It really didn't bother me that he would just like he would vent about me politically, but on a professional level, it was a little strange. And like saying that you want to do this to major political figure while you are doing it to me does not sit right with me. I'm just like, I'm here in my like Panic at the Disco shirt, just trying to have a comfy sit. I want my back to not feel stiff, and this is what I signed up for. I'm also kind of the person where I'm just like, I'm really, really shy IRL, so like, you can't really approach me very easily without me actually going full rodent mode and being like, if I don't know you, I'm not very chatty. I'm very shy. Hi, Pachi. Basically implies they could snap your neck and that's a red flag, man. Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I didn't go to this guy for very long. I just went for like a couple of sessions and then my back felt a little bit better. And then I was like, okay, I'm ollie outie the hell out of here, actually. That's really weird. This is so weird. And like, I don't know. It just didn't feel like... It was really weird. It was a really weird chat. I wonder if he's still in the practice. I kind of want to look it up. I want to find out. Yeah, and I just... yeah, I've heard too many horror stories. It's kind of like, I've heard chiropractor and like everything they do is kind of a pseudoscience anyway. That's what I've heard. I'm not gonna act like I'm smart about this kind of stuff, but I've heard a lot of scary stuff where I'm just like, you know, it's okay, it's alright, I don't need that actually. I think I need a massage. I think that's what I need, and I just need a good desk chair that will let me like wrap myself around it like a pretzel, and you know what, I'll just do the job myself. On the plus side though, learning the horror stories behind visiting a chiropractor did encourage me to stop popping my neck the way I used to, because I used to do that quite a bit, and now I do think over the years it has made my neck a lot stiffer and it's much more harder to crack if I try to now. So it's just kind of like, you know what, maybe that's not meant to be cracked and that's okay. But sometimes I feel like I just want it and I wish I could have it, but it's best that I don't. So I pop everything else in my body. Like my knuckles, my neck, my back, no. Nah. Anyway, hi. Hello. I should probably... No, I'm not finishing it. That scared me. That scared you? Sorry. There's horror stories for every medical field. It's just people focus more on chiropractors since it's hands-on and easier for the public to access. Yeah, and you know, I kind of remember a thing too. My insurance kind of fought me on chiropractor when I remember now. It was kind of expensive. So that was another reason why I didn't really stick. I didn't really stick with it. May just scooted under the covers and went against my thighs, and she's so warm and soft. I want that for me. Oh my god, I forgot to tell you guys. I woke up this morning and Mr. Bark, he had gotten onto the bed at some point, and when I woke up, Mr. Bark was laying on his back with his little feet in the air. He was so comfy. He was so comfy. It was really the cutest thing. And I just think you guys deserve to know about that. I did end up cuddling Mr. Bark just like I said I would. It was awesome. My hack. I like that. I like that quite a bit. But yeah, I guess TLDR, we should bring back Moomin Night soon. I would like to do that, actually. I would like to do that. I just need to get back to where I can stay up past 10. Can you just get a chiropractor certification from an online course? I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything about that. But, yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna have a sip of my Olipop now. Hi Malice, welcome, welcome. Do you guys want to see my Pim plushie again? I'm gonna show you guys my Pim plushie again. I really like it. I like it so much. This is how I feel going to the chiropractor. I really just really badly want a massage now that we've been talking about it for a half hour. Only online course I'm doing is to become an ordained minister. Oh my goodness. That means you can, does that mean you can marry people? They can come to you and be like, I want you to legally marry me. And you could just like sit at the podium and be like, fuck yeah, brother. Will you marry me to, fictional boys? I got a lot of fictional boys. I got a list. I'm gonna start calling them one by one and be like, hey, you wanna get married? Kaiji, Nikki, Bestie will marry us. I will marry you to Patrick Stump if you wanna. No, I don't know if I wanna marry him. He has a wife and family. And honestly, I kind of want him to give me a dad hug because I think it would fix me, but I don't think I need to marry him. I want to make a joke really bad, but there's like this, well, you know what, I'm just gonna say it, hold on, there they are, this dumb and dumb, stop! No, I was thinking about it though. I was like, Joe Keery has a Tinder account. You know, he's pretty cute too. He's pretty cute. But then I realized that there's like a girl on TikTok that like keeps telling everybody that she's like legally married to him and stuff. And I'm just kind of like, it's really crazy. What? Do you think Joe Keery fucks with VTubers? Do you think he fucks with VTubers? Please don't at him. Don't at him to ask. You can keep adding Fallout Boy if you want to know if I'm their Oshi, but you know, don't at Joe Keery, okay? Someone is legally married to Hatsune Miku. They are! There's also, I think it's a Love and Deep Space Boy, but there was somebody that married one of those guys. One of those twinks. But I thought did they get divorced? Why would you divorce Hatsune Miku? What the hell is wrong with you? Can we get a Fallout Boy to become a Hamela Hampter fan? I want that. I do my part. I want Fallout Boy to recognize me as their Oshi. They don't know who I am, but wasn't there someone who got married to a DS? Probably. What if that DS like peters out at some point? What are they gonna do? Are they gonna have to like that's stressful. Do they put life insurance on that thing? Has anyone been seeing a lot of Miku and Teto art? Ever since Mesmerizer came out, yeah. But I mean, I haven't seen a whole lot recently. I've just seen a lot. There's like a push for Teto to be in Fortnite, I think. But I feel like, honestly, I feel like if they're gonna put another Vocaloid in Fortnite, I think they should put Luca. I like Luca a lot. New Project Diva win. Yeah, do they not make them anymore? What happened? Oh, Mr. Bark, you're so comfy. Not much, what's up with you? Did you guys see that they're putting regular show in Fortnite? All I can think of is, you know, who else is gonna be in Fortnite? My mom! Oh, I like it when I can say that because it makes me like my like vibrato like tingle. Anyway, I guess I should probably think about getting started on Puyohams if we want to actually make any of them tonight. You should go into opera. I don't know why I did that. I think I might be a little tired, but use that voice only, the my mom voice. Oh god, okay, we're not doing that again. That was a bad idea. My throat does not like that. Mr. Bark doesn't like that either. But yeah, no, I did a little warm up drawing earlier, and that was kind of fun. I really enjoyed that. But then I was kind of like, oh no, is the static back? Is it back? I'm gonna say something not kosher if the static is back. Okay. Okay, okay. I also didn't hear it? Okay. If it's back, you did hear it? Are you fucking with me? If you're fucking with me, I'm gonna be really sad. I'm gonna restart my mic and then maybe we won't run into this issue. We won't run into this issue. Okay, okay. A ground loop isolator? I don't know what that is. What is that? To Throne? If you link me one, I'll put it in Throne. I think I have you added on Discord. I'm asking you guys to do all the hard work for me. I'm just so tired. What's Mr. Bark up to? Oh, he's got his bone. Yeah. Surprise gifts are on. Surprise gifts are on. But I can't add shit to my throne. I never know what to add, so I just add things like fuck ass bootleg pin plushie, and you guys buy that plushie for me. Have you seen audiophiles like put their wires on stands? It's really funny. No, that sounds amazing. I want to see that. I want to see that. Man, Hammy needs to put a crowdfund for a massage on there. Yeah? You think so? I guess I could. I'd have to look up how much something like that costs. The last time I got a massage was when my dad, You know what? I'm not gonna finish that sentence. Anyway. Yeah. No, I haven't gotten one. Is your mic connected over USB? No, I got a massage, when my dad was in the hospital. Because it was rough. It was rough. But my mic is connected. I have like a voice box. And it's connected. Oh god, I haven't like played with that in forever. I can't remember if it's USB or not. Massage sessions are normally 100. I don't think I paid more than like, I think I paid somewhere between 60 and 80. But I just went to like, what's it called? Massage Envy? But that might have been, I can't remember if that was in California or where I live now. We all have voice boxes, bestie. Be nice to me, I'm stupid. 60 to 80 sounds right to me. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. People tell me to get massages, but yeah, no, when I can't afford that, man, I gotta eat. Yeah, no, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, I got emotes to buy. I got Trader Joe's to buy. Like an XLR into an audio interface. Yeah, exactly like that. Exactly like that. A misogynist. Stop! Oh, yeah. Okay, so Super Manager knows what my setup is. Hi, Firefly. Welcome, welcome. Wish I could pin this. I wish you could, too. You know what? Fuck it. Just pin it. We'll get over to Puyohams when we get there. Guys, what if I end up just yapping to people tonight? No, I can't do that. I gotta work on these. I gotta work on these Puyohams. I'm going out of town next week. It's gonna be a bad week to work on them. I'm not gonna lie though. I was kind of like, what if I did just fuck around on stream tonight, huh? What if I just fucked around? And then I'm like, oh, I should really be productive. You can't have the co-working. You can't have the co-working stream and then you just fucking say, yeah, let's play Rule 34 all night, okay? Work on them in the car so they have really bumpy lines. I'll be on an airplane. Ooh, I'm gonna be on an airplane next week. I don't know how I feel about that. Is today Saturday? Today's Friday. Today's Friday. I'm so fucking tired, chat. Can give massages to others really well. If I ever get a roommate and they're having muscle pains, they're getting a full-hour massage session for free? Wow. I'm low-key a little jealous of your future roommate. Sometimes if I lay on the ground for floor time, Mr. Bark will come over and walk on my back for me. He also offers free massages in a way. But also if I lay on my back on the floor and, if I lay on my back on the floor, he'll walk over and like kiss you until you suffocate. So another thing that can cause that kind of static is interface from mobile devices. So if you have your phone near you, make sure it's not lying around near your audio equipment. Pachi! I have it immediately under my microphone. Is that it? Is that my problem? Do I need to move my microphone? Do you guys still hear the static, by the way? Do you still hear the static? You don't hear it, right? You're good? You're not fucking with me? The feds tracking you are making the static. Damn it, I knew it. Heard it a little bit ago, but not anymore. I restarted my audio box. Man, I replaced my wire and everything. I was like, that's gonna do it. That's gonna fix it for me. It's gonna be awesome. We're gonna be poggers and it's gonna be great. And then I was naive. I was foolish. But it's okay. It's okay. No! Fuck! Hold on. Okay, hold on. Give me a second. Give me a second here. I'm gonna try moving my mic. Okay? This is, instead of Puyoham making, we're just gonna... Fuck it. We're gonna troubleshoot my audio issues. Yeah, Mr. Bark, you're in it too! I wonder... Oh god, this is an awful sound, and I'm probably really close to the mic right now, but... What if I move it higher? What if I move higher? I think this might help. How does it sound? Is it bad? Is it terrible? Is it dog shit? Higher might work. Can you guys hear me okay? I can't hear myself, so I have to That sounds fine. Sick. Okay. You know, we're gonna try it here. If you guys hear any static, just holler at me, okay? I promise I won't crash out. I promise I won't crash out, and I won't yell at you either. I might crash out in quiet. I can tell it's slightly farther away, but it sounds fine. Yeah, okay, that's good. I was recording something earlier, and I was like, damn, do I always sound that loud? I'm usually pretty soft-spoken, so it's kind of weird. But now I understand why you guys always hear my, tippy-tappies when I'm doing, like, if I'm doing, like, typing and stuff. Speaking of which, if you haven't noticed already, I got the new schedule up. For next week already, because I wanted to get it done before Monday. You're always loud here, and it's awesome, honestly. I'm glad you think so. Hi, Pissman. Welcome to Financial. It's not Femdom Friday, because that will get us banned. It's Financial Domination Friday. So everybody shut up and give me your wallet. I'm sorry, that was rude. That was rude. Don't do that. Don't do that. You can buy me, whatever that thing was. Or fuck-ass bootleg pimp plushie. It's empty? What's empty? My brain? Same, take it. No! It's okay. You guys don't have to give me money. I'm just teasing you. I hope you know that. I hope you know that! I just think the bit is really funny. I think the bit is so funny. And I'm glad, every time I stream on Friday, I always wonder if it's gonna get brought up. And then I'm like, you know what? If it gets brought up, it gets brought up because we live for the bit. Anyway, hi. Oh, I should make Puyohams. I'm so lazy. I'm so lazy. Hi. What if I did do some streamer dailies first? What if we did that? Who am I? I don't fucking know. And if you don't know, we're in trouble. Gotta add the financial domination tag on Friday streams. I would, but I don't know if I want. I don't like the type of people that would bring in, I feel like. Like, with all due respect, I would just be like, I'm just here to play and draw, literally. Oof, ouch. Oh! Bestie, my wallet is weighing me down on this fine Friday. What should I do? You should give it to me. And give me your house. Give me your house. Sign me the deed. I'll take good care of it. Oh, it's a hibiscus. Oh, hello, biscus. Oh, that's why we're here to accept the donation, then ban them if they get creepy. Oh, that's a really good idea. What if I added the financial domination Friday tag? What if we do that? What if we do that? You know, like, I guess nuking someone from your own chat is also a form of—
This man 445 tipped 1 USD. Mommy Hugo. Famdom Domination Nation Friday is here at last. Hachi Wachi, they added a new weird currency to Monday. It is weird. Anyways, shout out Big Mommy Super Manager. I bought the ring pop who will be ready. Thank you and good NIH.
That's really funny. Thank you, Pissman. Get the bag, please, ban. But yeah, nuking someone from your chat is also a form of domination, I guess, if you really think about it. Like, thanks for your wallet. Get the fuck out of my chat. Oh, man. But I couldn't be that mean. I couldn't be that mean. Ah! Am I a dominatrix? I'm no comment. No, I can't comment on anything. I don't know words. I don't know how to talk. I don't know. You could be the #1 streamer in the Femdom Friday tag. Do you think that would come in my Twitch, my Twitch Unwrapped? You streamed in these tags, and then it's Financial Domination Friday. I don't know. I think I would I feel like I feel really bad if that happened. I already had to convince Hammie Mama that I didn't do OnlyFans. Oh boy. What was that? What got deleted? What is happening in my chat right now? Oh my goodness. You guys are crazy tonight. Why are you so crazy? Do you guys want to see my fuck-ass plushie again? Onee-hams? Guys, I'm so obsessed. He's so funny. Oh my god. He's so funny. Oh wait, I can show you guys the Golden Aisha! Guys, you wanna see the Golden Aisha figure I got? Hold on, Mr. Bark needs pat. See, look at her! She's golden and she's shiny! And you can't see her because of the awful quality. Oh, okay, I get it. Carry on. I'm so congested. I gotta put this shit away. Taking away their First Amendment rights because it was about me is insane. I feel like I'm going crazy. Something is buzzing and being picked up on screen. Mr. Bark is playing with his toys. Is that it? Here, let me mute myself. Tell me if it still happens. I feel like I'm going crazy. Once every 5 minutes. What could that be? I'm not doing laundry. I'm not doing laundry tonight, but it only happens during your streams. What the hell? Well, we got an ad now. That's so weird. I wish I could figure it out. Maybe I just need to maybe I just need to completely revamp my whole audio setup. But I don't wanna. I don't got the money for that. Oh no, I almost flashed my feet on the Mr. Bark cam. I come over and tweak yours for you. No, it's back! I'm gonna take a really, really deep breath. Sometimes it's just the wiring in the house. I think you're right. Oh my god. I'm gonna take a deep breath. Come over, Myosh. Just come over anyway. If we work on audio stuff, we work on audio stuff. I need it though. I need it. Haters around every corner. Yeah. Yeah, Myosh. I'm going to go out of town next week, but I'll be back Wednesday-ish. Yeah, Wednesday-ish. Then Thursday I'm gonna be on Owen's channel. Yeah. We'll figure it out. I was about to say I'm free next week. I'm free the second half of next week, if that helps. I am about town. I know, me and Kitty are gonna go see, Twice, and I'm really excited. It's gonna be really fun. Could Props do the weekend? I might be able to do the weekend. Let me check my schedule. I think I at least have Sunday free. Yeah. Does anyone ever feel pregnant? No. I have a fear of pregnancy, so... Absolutely not. I think anyone who does social media and makes money, their parents are prone to thinking it's OnlyFans. Well, it's weird. It's I don't know. My mom won't even let me explain streaming to her. She's just I don't get it. I'm okay, that's fine. That's alright. I almost had to explain it to my stepdad's 91-year-old mother though, and I felt my brain just melting, and I was I can't do this. I can't explain it. I work at a website called Twitch. Well, this can be whatever Lucid's been. To be nice! That's why you keep getting timed out! P and Piss Man stands for pregnant. Jesus Christ. You guys are wily tonight. We haven't even started doing anything and you guys are like going crazy town. My parents stopped asking about streaming after a month when it became clear I wasn't making millions. Damn! Just call it talk radio or something. That's the closest I've gotten to getting an old person to understand it. You know, that's a really good idea, actually. I could just be like, oh, I'm a podcaster. I'm a podcaster. That's fine. I kind of yap at you guys. Too slow, let's do Tamamo. Okay, give me a second here. How do I use VTube Studio? I don't even know anymore. Chat, I might not be long for the world tonight. I'm gonna be so honest with you. I feel like an asshole because I say that, and I say that like every night lately because I'm so tired. Keen doesn't concern himself. Oh my god, you carry on yapping. Oh my goodness, I'm so freaking tired. I get you. You know, like they should just let girls like us sleep. Whoa, you got a crown? Mr. Bark made a really grumpy noise at that. It just keeps going. Imagine being Evie couldn't be me. It's totally me. I'm trying so hard to stay awake. No, Seth, you should go sleep. I say this not as your op, but as your friend. You should go get some sleep if you can help it. Oh man. Oh, you got a coffee cup. It knows that you're sleepy. Wahoo. It knows that you're sleepy. Hello, Kashua. Welcome. I want to try and stay up normal eat times. Okay, I understand. Yeah, I feel you. I think I'm gonna, like, even though I'm really tired, I'm kind of, like, I'm gonna try and force myself to stay up. Coffee does sound good. I was gonna get coffee today, but then I didn't get coffee today. This has no bearing on you guys. I'm just complaining because you're here and I can complain. Anyway, yeah. Hello. I'm gonna take a sip of my Olipop again. I got the soda that makes your tummy less upset. I should stop drinking soda. That's probably why I can't sleep. Wait, does Olipop have caffeine in it? I don't think it does. I'm gonna find out though. Oh my god, I can't read this can at all. No, it doesn't? That's good. That's good. I really like Olipop. Just probiotics, if I remember correctly. Yeah, because girls stay shitting. I shouldn't say that. No, I've had a tummy ache, though. I've had a tummy ache. Girls stay shitting. Amen. I should think before I say things. Oh my god, that scared me. I was like, oh my god, did we get another bot? Tummy ache survivor. Someone delete. How do I do that? I got it. Sipping on a probiotic water right now because my tummy's been aching. No! I'm sorry your tummy's aching. Was leaving it so they're shame public. No, I don't like... It kind of reminded me a little bit, like, when you go into, like, Amazon and you try to send a link to someone and you just copy the URL and it's really fucking ugly. And I might, you know... Did I tell you guys I was talking to my therapist about whether or not I have OCD? Anyway, yeah. It was really ugly and I didn't want it there anymore. I remember. I forgot. I hate that so much on shopping websites. I found out that you can just delete everything after the first question mark, though, usually. And then you're golden. Because it's just like cookies and tracking shit. Hi, Hamsty. Welcome. If my link doesn't look cute, I'm not sending it. Amen, brother. Amen. Hello, Heather. Welcome, Raiders. I hope you guys are having a wonderful Friday. I hope you had a wonderful stream. If you guys need to take a break, maybe you need a time zone meal, breakfast, lunch, or dinner and all that, please go eat. Grab some hydration. Buckle in if you want to stick around for Hamela Hampter, who may or may not be doodling tonight because I can't seem to get it together. I'm happy to have you. Happy to have you. Maybe we draw. Maybe we draw a little. I should go on over. I should go on over to the screen. I just popped my ears with that yawn and I feel like I ascended. Oh man. No! It's not Femdom Friday! Don't say that! Don't say that! It's Financial Domination Friday! Femdom will get me banned! I have a suggestion for stream. I am all ears. Look at me wiggle my ears. Oh, yaps. I do think everyone I brought over enjoys yaps. I hope they enjoy yaps because I am definitely not doing what I said I was doing yet. The listener, the creature. Sorry, Mr. Bark just moved. What are you up to, actually? Are you just sitting on my chair now? Are you sitting on my chair, Mr. Bark? Are you waiting for chat to give you a treat? Are you waiting for someone to hit the Mr. Bark treat? And worst of all,
hi, doggy.
Larry. Oh, hi, doggy. Fundom. Oh, I like Fundom. That sounds fun. Do you know Prowler's Twitch widgets like Squonk Chat? No, I'm not familiar. Wait, hold on. I gotta give Mr. Bark a treat,
Alice
though.
tipped 3.33 USD. I forgot it was Findom Friday. Will you ever forgive me, Onee-ham?
Yes, I forgive you, Malice. Thank you for your donation. I will pat your head. Just be careful not to forget it again, okay? You didn't specify whether or not you wanted sweet or spicy, so I gave you sweet by default. There's one called Yippee Meter where if multiple people say the same message, it builds up a meter and goes Yippee when it fills up. Wait. I want to look this up right now. Hang on. What's a Yippee Meter? Yippee Meter. I want this. My neck just snapped, did it? Oh my god. Okay, but I have to spend $10 on this first. Guys, don't laugh at me. Don't laugh at me, but I fell for it. I can't do it right now. I had to lock my debit card because I did something stupid. Don't talk to me. Don't look at me. Don't talk to me about it. I had to lock my card.
Tonight Roddy tipped 20 USD. The financial dominator in this economy is a hamster.
Thank you, Heather. That's very kind of you. Now I can use my PayPal. I can use my PayPal to get the Yippee Meter. You guys want the Yippee Meter? How much would you like to pay? Okay, I'm doing it. Give me a second here. I don't know if I could set this up in a timely manner tonight, but let me double check. I'm gonna do it, chat. I'm gonna do it. Thank you, Heather, again. I really appreciate you. And I'm really glad that it actually, like, went through. Because lately it feels like I've been getting donos sometimes and it's kind of weird. It won't show up. Yippee Meter. You can do a bootleg one and use an hourglass and then scream Yippee after. You guys want me to say Yippee? Our asses are not gonna see Puyos tonight. No! Be nice to me! Oh my goodness. Alright, I'm buying this really quick. Okay? Oh my god, no! My shit just fell over. Guys, we are so fucked, Alan. Oh god, I just knocked over a bunch of shit on my desk. Oh, my little guys. This shit has fallen. Alan, we are so fucked. I'm kind of considering at some point doing the K-Taro thing because he just watches anime sometimes on stream. And I'm like, what if we watch Smiling Friends? But then I'm like, oh, we should watch it in the Discord. Hammie, I don't like this rock. It pisses me off. Okay, hold on. Hold on, I'm doing the thing. I'm buying this widget. I'm buying the Yippee Meter. Hammie, it's pissing me off. Super Manager tells me I have Marcus the Worm energy. Be sure to read the setup guide and check out the quick tips. Okay, okay. I'm downloading this Yippee meter. I'm downloading it as we speak. I don't know. Can I do this? Can I set this up while I'm live? Or is it gonna be really weird? Alright, browser source. Oh man, I have to set this up. Would you guys be mad at me if I set this up for next, if I set this up for later? Or do you guys want me to do it right now? Because I have it, it's here. I'm excited for this. I'm excited for this quite a bit. Go ahead. Okay. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna read the PDF. Oh, there's a lot here. It's not a lot, but I may be stupid. Up to you. I think I might save this to set up maybe tomorrow during the daytime. Guys, I've been talking for an hour. Should I work on Puyohams? Maybe I should work on Puyohams, or we could do I'm not a robot for a little bit. Fuck, I forgot we left off on this one that's really hard that we left off on a really hard one where TSOZ gave me the answer for it. I didn't even read that. Investing in the feed. No, you're not getting a feed cam. It's only a Mr. Bart cam or bust. Oh shit, I'm gonna join this. Hell yeah. Okay, okay. Bark or bust. Yeah! Because you guys want alternate angles for Mr. Bark. And, you know, I can't blame you. He's very handsome. We could do this. We could do this for a minute. Let's do this. We're not doing art, so I'm gonna... Well, we're doing art, but we'll do it later. We'll do it later. We're not doing it right now. We're not doing it right now. Anyway, can we get 360 slow-mo shot of Bark? That'd be kind of badass. I need to get a GoPro. I need to get a GoPro so I can show you guys my Grill Dad arc. I think that would be really fun. I think that would be really fun, actually. Wait, hold on just a second. There we go. Okay, where is this? You know what, Hamela? You can reopen FaZe Clan now with Mr. Bark. What's FaZe Clan? I have to remind you guys, I'm like mentally an old lady. I don't know what half the crap you guys are talking about is. What is that? Blackstone Hammie? Yeah, Hammie mama got me a Blackstone for Christmas. And I'm really, I need a big strong guy to come help me put it together. FaZe Clan has been around for a while too. I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm sorry. Esports group, I only learned a bit about it a few months ago. Okay, when you spell it like that, that kind of looks familiar. Do you want me to send my dad to your house? Would your dad put together my Blackstone for me? Because when I put my grill together and I did not put the doors on correctly, and I'm really scared I'm gonna fuck it up again. Oofy's dad coming in clutch. He 100% would. Oh my god, what if I bake him cookies? What if I bake your dad cookies? I'll do something nice. I'll make him something in return. Oh man. You could come over and help me with my audio setup, and then your dad could help me with my Blackstone. Sorry, chat. I'm just making IRL plans right in front of you. Also, see Mr. Bark. I'll let him say hello to my chinchillas. Oh my goodness. If your dad like legitimately would be happy about that, I would be happy to have him. Bought my dad a Blackstone for Christmas a few years ago. He never used it and gave it to my brother last year. That's fucked up. That's fucked up. I could never. I could never. Okay, yay. Okay, I'll put another one. Yay, thank you, Oofy, my hero, my savior, my beautiful heterosexual life partner. Oh, there we go. We got two. We got two of them. Okay. I'm gonna sip this up. I'm gonna sip this Olipop. Anyway, hi. I had to, I moved a bunch of shit on my desk. Wait, there's something blinking. I think maybe something came loose from my audio box. Hold on a second, okay? Hold on a second, chat. Okay, I don't know what the hell that is. I don't know what that is, but that's okay. We'll be fine. We will rebuild. One of my lights was blinking on my audio box, so I kind of wonder if it's just tripping tonight. But you know what? It's okay. It's okay. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Is it 182? Brat? What should we do? What should we do? Okay, I gotta think because we're either gonna like make some Puyohams or we gotta do some streamer dailies because I will conk out. And you guys don't want me to fall asleep on my keyboard, do you? You don't want me to do that. Why would you want me to do that? I never took a drink of my Olipop like I said I would. I think it would be Moe. If I fell asleep on my keyboard. Guys, you don't... it's not... Ray, come over here and end stream for me when I conk out. You guys don't want to... You don't want to listen to me sleep because I do the thing, because of one of my, chronic illnesses, I do the fun thing where if I fall asleep and I don't have, my CPAP machine, I just stop breathing. You guys would get so scared. You don't know what's happening. I just stop breathing. And then sometimes if I stop breathing, I'll make a rattling sound, and it's awesome. It's sick. It scares everybody I room with at anime conventions now. So I gotta make sure. Should be able to end stream from their area. No, Super Manager has to physically come over and do it. That's the rule. Is your skeleton trying to get out? Yeah! I've been tanking my sleep apnea. I should get one of those. You should! I know I complain a lot about not being able to sleep very good, but getting a CPAP machine is honestly been a game changer. I can talk about it. I have PCOS, chat. I have PCOS and it just causes me a bunch of shitty issues. So one of those things is really bad sleep apnea. And my sleep apnea contributes to my insomnia really bad because I'll wake up and then my body will think I'm dying because I stopped breathing. And yeah, it's fun, and then I won't be able to get back to sleep because I'm kind of in panic mode. We really are the same person. We really are. Are you also... Oofy, be real with me. Be real with me right now, Oofy. Are you also having really bad period cramps? No, I shouldn't out you in front of every Hammie, but... Yes, okay. I have a heating pad on right now, and I am dying inside, trying to get this shit yanked. I want to, too. That sounds like a blast. Anyway, sorry, you guys know a lot about me and Oofy now. We are literally are we the same person or are we heterosexual life partners? I don't know. Do people ship us yet? I know people ship me and Mina. Hi Octo, welcome. You guys want to hear about my severe IBS next? I should make you get into a Discord call with me right now. Isn't that the internet provider? Yeah. You can get an IBS computer. They talk about that in Steins Gate. You should travel all the way to Akiba in Japan, and you should go to Akihabara in Japan and ask them for an IBS computer. It'll be on speakerphone though. It's okay. I honestly really should get to drawing. I really should get to drawing. Hamabun. I like Hamabun. Does that mean wait, hold on. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say things like that. Not when Mina's not around to defend herself. But you know what the implications are of putting me first in that ship name. Send you a doodle to motivate you. Thank you. Thank you. Oofy, my hero. We'll put it together at the next puzzle night. How have you been, Hammie? I've been okay. I was really sick last week, and I'm still in recovery mode a little bit, but I'm doing a lot better. I hope you're doing well. I knew what you were gonna say. I'm so funny. Matching piercings? Oh my goodness. Sparks are flying again in my... It's Hamphy and Oof Me. I like Oof Me. It kind of sounds like, I don't know. It kind of sounds like it would be something 303 would say in one of their songs. Oof Me. Oh, it's not Oof Me. Hamphy. Do you guys think I have semi-energy? Do you think I have semi-energy? This is crazy. I have semi-energy. Do I have yaoi hands? Do you guys think I have yaoi hands? Wait, hold on. I can show you guys. Do these look like yaoi hands? Please ignore the green hair dye on my hands if you can see it. No, I don't have yaoi hands. Oh, I'm so awesome. What? I guess? Maybe? Are you guys getting your nipples pierced? You know what? I don't want the answer to that. I really don't want the answer to that. Please don't answer it. I don't want it. No, stop it. Cut it out. I'm getting scared. You can't do this. Get both pierced at the same time, or the second one is really painful from what I've heard. Get them pierced just for fun, not even putting anything in there. Yeah, just because you're feeling a little spicy. Your body goes into shock. You know, it's not the same thing, but I got my ears pierced, my cartilage pierced, and I did them also both at the same time, and then I realized as a side sleeper that was an awful idea, but like, what was I supposed to do? Ooh. Ooh. I need to get, no they aren't Hammie, I'm looking at them right now. Can they have Puyoham jewelry? What? Wait, hold on, backtrack a little bit. What? This chat's about to learn what emo only is. I know, you guys are crazy. Why are you so crazy tonight? Is it because it's Financial Domination Friday? Give me your money. You can only go crazy town in my chat if you give me your wallet. Oh, brother. Okay, chat, I'm doing it. Give me a sec. I'm not doing it. You know what? If I go over to the screen, we'll be one step closer to actually doing something. You've been given the pass. You can have any pass you want, Heather. I mean that. You can have any pass you want that I can give. What if we watch shitty videos instead? What if we watch some shitty videos instead? Oh my god, I should get some work done. Remember when we were talking about how this would be a cute co-working stream and Super Manager would work on fanfic and I would work on Puyohams? Not slurs? No, that's okay. That's an appropriate response. That's an appropriate response. React streaming is where my brain is at, I think. Yeah, you guys want to watch? What if we watch dog massage videos? I want to watch dog massage videos. Can we watch dog massage videos? Hold on. We're gonna do that. Having a breakdown in response to chat tonight. Ray and I hovering that emo only switch right now. Let me use my panic button. I need to test if it works. No, actually, I don't want to ever have to use it. I don't ever want to have to use it. It's just there because it makes me feel better. Hi. Let's see. We should play Words on Friends today. Can I see it? What do you want to see? What do you want to see? I want to know. The panic button? Oh, I can tell you what the panic button does. Give me a quick sec. I have to pull up my stream deck shit really fast. Hammie, do you have Spirit Valley? I don't think I know what that is. What's that? I mean, testing your emergency response is part of having an emergency response. You're right. But if I, Hold on. If I were to press my panic button, it does 7 actions. It does 7 actions. It'll play a Twitch ad. It'll completely clear the Twitch chat. It'll set it to sub mode. And then it sets a marker for me so I can go back and report whatever happened. And yeah, no, it's also moves me over to my BRB screen. And it's a little extra, but you know, I feel like it was a good thing to set up. I feel like Spirit Valley is a game on Steam that helps you get work done. Think of Pokemon Sleep but for work. It helps you stay on task and lets you customize character and pets. Oh wait, hold on. I have Lo-Fi Sessions Spirit, what's it called? Hold on. It's Spirit City Lo-Fi Sessions. I have that. And then I also have Go. I've been really fucking with Go lately. My panic buttons, the power switch on both my PCs are plugged into. Hell yeah! Yeah, no, I love Spirit City. I need to get the autism patch. Or not patch, but the DLC where it's about trains. Because also Go got an autism DLC, and that's the Miku one. Lo-fi beats to blow your shit. Stop! Lo-fi beats to blow your shits move off to. I need to get the autism patch. Oh my god. But yeah. No, I have a few games like that. I really fuck with those kind of games. This is truly the stream of all time. We haven't had one like this for a while. Not the pin. Lo-fi beats to blow your shits move off to. I'm gonna throw up. I'm laughing so hard. Actually, I'm not gonna throw up, I promise. I have emetophobia. You know what? I had to make sure Miyoshi didn't just pin that. I want to play Balatro. What if we did a run of Balatro? We don't need to do a run of Balatro. We can just sit here and vibe. We can sit here and vibe for a bit. Let's do it. You guys want to play Balatro? What if we played Balatro, actually? Are you guys gonna be mad at me if I don't work on Puyohams tonight? Like, be real with me. Are you gonna be mad at me? I think we need to talk about this. I'll leave everything up. Free thinkers win Balatro. Hold on. When you say throw up, I immediately yearn for Tsubasa. Don't worry. We'll do that tomorrow, okay? I promise. We'll play 100 Line tomorrow. And I'll find more time for Puyohams. Maybe we'll play it. Maybe if I get a run of Balatro, I'll be really, really happy afterwards, and then I'll be like, you know what? Yeah, I'll fuck with drawing some Puyohams. I feel good about this. I'm gonna be real. I've been physically ill for most of the stream, so everyone should do what's in their heart. Let's do it. You've been thinking about Takumi all week? You know what? I've also been thinking of Takumi quite a bit. He gives me cuteness aggression. I want to put Takumi Sumino into the torture team. A torture chamber. Positive. Wait, hold on. I don't want to check these. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Give me like 2 seconds. People keep telling you look like him. You kind of look like him. I could probably get cuteness aggression from Seth. Do you want to get into the air fryer? Like 3 people in the last week all of a sudden. Wow, that's a lot. Thanks, Worsty. You're welcome. Worsty, I like that. Because also, if you're like feeling a little spicy, you could also be like, bratwursty. Yeah. Alright, you're going in the air fryer. Hold on, I'm getting it set up so we can play Balatro really quick, okay? We're gonna play Balatro. We're gonna play Balatro. I like you guys. I like you guys. I just like to watch you guys. Let's play Balatro. Wait, hold on. Really quickly. Awesome. Oh, you couldn't have seen that anyway. Gotta send you this video I took in Sims the other day. I thought you meant Sans Undertale for a second. People told me I looked like Bruce Lee, Markiplier, and sound like Jesse Eisenberg. That's a godly combination. I used to be really excited because in high school, people used to tell me more that I looked like Katy Perry, and I was like, oh, damn, she's so pretty. And now, if people are like, you look like Katy Perry, I'm just kind of like, please don't say that again. Oh. Who do I get compared to these days? I never leave my house, so I'm just like, do I get compared to anyone? Oofy, what do I look like? No, don't answer that. Don't answer that. Anyway. Wait, hold on. It's being kind of weird. Give me a second. I just want to change my profile. Cutieful? That's a good answer. That's a good answer. Thank you. Oh my, hold on, I'm gonna move this over. You sound like the Twitch streamer Hamela Hampter. That's my worst fear, is that I'll go to like another anime convention and people will be like, wow, you sound kind of familiar. And then I'm gonna fish. And yeah, wait, what is happening? What is happening with my stream deck? What did I do? Okay, sorry, I had to fix something. Cutieful is such a good word for Hammie. That makes me happy. I'm glad you think so. Well, is that a candy corn? That's a candy corn fish. Okay, we're gonna play Balatro. I'm gonna play Balatro. Can I change the stream to Balatro? Balatro. I'm so bad at this streaming thing, chat. I'm so bad at this streaming thing. I get so distracted. You sound familiar, I say, in my Hamela Hampter happy striking this pose. Wait, what? What? Hamela bot, what are you doing? Thank you though, Oofy. I see what you were trying to do. I don't know why that happened. One of these days I'm gonna fix Hamela bot. But today, we're gonna play Balatro. What should we... I'm gonna do a new run. It's okay. Oh, I want to do one of these. Can I do a ghost deck run? I kind of want to do a ghost deck run. We don't have HammieBot modded. We don't. HammieBot get fucked. Oh, what's this? Add polygram to a random joker. Destroy all other jokers. The game audio is muted. Oh, I think it's just really quiet. Hold on. Is that a little bit better? Balatro is always really... It's very, very quiet. Oh, Mr. Bark, I'm gonna have to hide the camera, okay? I'm gonna have to hide the camera for now because people can't see everything. Owned Clanker, Jesus Christ. Hammie, you're an amazing streamer and anyone who says otherwise deserves to have their card declined on dates. Oh. See, I feel kind of bad saying that, but also that's really funny to imagine. Put him in the top left corner? Okay, hold on, I'm also gonna make chat a little bit smaller, but I'm not gonna make them smaller until I do this. Oh, hell yeah. That's the good shit right there. Okay, I'll put him in the top left corner though. Give me like a quick second here, I'm just gonna... Balatro. It's been forever since we played Balatro. I fucking love Balatro. I've been playing it a lot lately. It's kind of the thing I do whenever I'm like, oh, I need a stim. We'll just play Balatro. We're gonna make it a little small, but it'll be okay. It'll be okay. There you go, Mr. Bark. Oh, he's so conked out. I want to be just like him for real. Don't wish bad health or anything life-threatening on others, just that minor inconveniences occur and make daily things slightly harder. You know what? That's the spirit. I'm one of those weird people that, like, I'm just like, I'll never tell someone I hate them, and I'll never wish, like, ill will on other people, usually. But I will tell you to go, like, stub your toe on the, like, first metal thing you find in your room. Like, go fucking do it. Just, you know. you know. Anyway, wow, a free Mega Arcana pack. We don't have a Joker to do this with. I'm gonna watch me make Super Manager really, really mad really, really fast because of how many times I like to skip blinds. Yeah, I wish you bare feet in Legoland. Oh my god! That's like the floor is lava, but on overtime. Let's see, what do we got here? We got some 8s, we got some 3s, we got a 2 pair. But we are really close to a flush too. Yes. Excellent. I love Balatro, chat. I love Balatro. Thank God. Oh my god, I just saw the picture you drew of me, Oofy. Can I put it on the screen? Guys, really quickly, before I continue Balatro, can we look at this artwork that Oofy did of me? We're definitely bringing it out for next, we're doing this next, puzzle night. Look at her! I look like the autism hamster! Girl, why are you so ears? Why am I so ears? Wait, I don't think there's a good place to put it on my screen. Fuck off, ad. I'm not ready for an ad yet. I'm not ready for an ad. It does look just like me. Thank you, Oofy. Cash out. Balatro. Yeah. Wait. Converts all cards in— oh, this could come out in a bind. Ears big enough to block out the captions. Yeah! Transference and all that. Ooh, should I get a buffoon pack? I'm gonna get a buffoon pack. Ooh. I can't get that right now. Someone drew Izanami Hifumi as it and it exploded. Oh my god, that's not true! Is it true? Whoa. Oh, earn $1 at the end of the round. Payout increases by $2 when boss blind is defeated. That's amazing. That's incredible. We are so broke, chat. We are so broke. But that's okay, because we got some good shit. We got good shit. Ooh, 3 7s. We could do a full house. We could do a full house. What if we made everything a single suit, too? No, we're gonna use that in a bind. We're gonna use that in a bind. I should probably mention now I'm not very good at Balatro, but I like playing it. I'm Hamela Hampter and I like Balatro, but I'm not very good at playing it. When round begins, add a random playing card with a random seal to your hand. First played face card gives 2 times molt when scored. I don't know what kind of angle I want to go this round. This one, if I had a bunch of cards, I could kind of build on that, but I could also work towards like face cards being powerful. Yeah, fuck it, let's do it for now. Let's do it for now. Maybe I'll also get a Celestial pack. Because we're gonna make a lot of fat stacks here soon, because it's Financial Domination Friday. 4 of a kind, 3 of a kind. All of these suck. Hammie, red or white wine? I typically like red. White is usually a little too dry for me. Enjoying thing does not require good at things. See Mr. Rogers in crayon art. Oh, yeah. Mr. Rogers would tell me I'm good at Balatro. Straight flush. 3 of a kind. Let's do 3 of a kind. That's come in handy so far. Like sweet reds and sweet whites. I like sweet wines in general, but I typically prefer reds usually. Up the ante. Like any wine that is so sweet it's basically alcoholic grape juice. Yeah, that's kind of how I am. That's how I am. Yeah, 2 pair. Also, thank you for calling me a good streamer, Lucid. I'm gonna marinate on that for a bit, and that's gonna be awesome. I have an idea. idea. I have Mr. Krabs. I have an idea. Balatro expert here. You're awesome. No comment on the gameplay though. Thanks, Karma. White. Oh, I do like White Zinfandel. White Zinfandel's really good. Oh man. Red wine charcuterie girly. Yeah. I'm gonna be honest. I love charcuterie. I love just like I'm literally like I'm a hamster and I'm a hamster in every universe. I just like eating stuff. You guys know the like the meme where like hamsters just eat stuff, right? We talk about it all the time. We got spaceship, we got photo, we just need hating chat and it's the easiest run of our lives. True. Of course, I'd give you all the compliments and wholeheartedly mean it. Well, I appreciate you. Shout out to my Yowie Paddle charcuterie boards, bringing out the fine china. I want a fucking Yowie Paddle so bad. I backed the Kickstarter when someone tried to bring back the Yowie Paddle, and then the Yowie Paddle Kickstarter got DMCA'd, and so they couldn't fulfill them. You need a cheeks full of snacks toggle? You're absolutely right. Let's see. I kind of want to use my sigil. Wait, hold on. Actually, I got an idea. No, I don't. But we're really close to potentially getting a flush here. But I want to keep my 10. I have 2 expensive charcuterie boards with the knives, picks, and caviar spoons. I didn't try caviar for the first time until like a year ago. Oh, hell yeah. That's awesome. I have a really nice charcuterie board, but I just buy all the utensils at World Market? World Market? Yeah, World Market. Put a cricket paddle and a Sharpie in your throne. No. I don't want a cricket paddle. That sounds... why would I paddle crickets? I like salmon roe, but I've never had the standard caviar. I like the popping boba on my sushi. Yeah! Okay, I do like salmon roe. I like salmon roe quite a bit. Destroy one random card in your hand adds 2 enhanced aces. No, I don't got space for this. Hold on, we got this. We got this. Hold on, we're gonna make this work. I really, really like salmon roe popping boba, actually. I had a burger for dinner. I have no idea what you guys are on about, but I want to be included. A burger sounds fire, actually. What did I have for dinner? I made stir fry for dinner. It was pretty good. Caviar, you use small spoons to put on the back of your thumb when clenching a fist and then eat it off of there. I'm trying to envision that. I'm trying to envision it. That seems like a lot of work. I have really bad balance, though. Should I see if this... No, I don't want this, actually. I don't want this. I should have used that earlier. Fuck. Can I sell this? What if I sell this? Will Super Manager take me out back old Yeller style if I sell this? I don't want to destroy my jokers. Oh, but... Selling it's the best play. Okay, I'm gonna do that because I don't want to use it. And then next time I get a dog shit hand, instead of pitching anything, I'll use the Grim. Roe, fish eggs are orange instead of black, where caviar is more salty. Roe has a I said the B in subtle umami flavor and easier to purchase. Yeah. I think I'm gonna do this here. Oh, everything is blue. His hands, his cards, his joker. I'm the only one who's gonna think that's funny. Oh, that was awesome. That was awesome. Oh! I saw the hypnosis bicycle picture you sent. The autism hamster. That's so funny. Actually, I'm gonna show chat. I'm gonna show chat. Chat, this is the origin of the autism hamster. He's just like me for real, for real. I was dying when I learned that about it. That's crazy. Crazy things happen in the hypnosis bicycle fandom. Cash out. Give me 10. Ichiro shampoo bottle art trend? What's that? Earn 5. I could be making the fattest of stacks. And you know what? I think I'm gonna do it. What the hell? Fine, I'll do it. I got this. I fear if I say you will lose your say-so card. Oh. Ah. You know what? I won't ask then. I won't ask. Ooh, next base edition Shop Joker is free and it becomes foil. Don't mind if I do. Shampoo bottle. Oh, wait. Okay, the slutty gray sweatpants. Okay, I know exactly what you're talking about and that's kind of insane. I only got a pair here. Get the fuck out. Yeah. Seth is wearing the slutty gray sweatpants? Everybody point at Seth and be like, how you're wearing the slutty gray sweatpants. That's so funny. Oh, I don't want this. This sucks. Wait, hold on. No, I would wear the slutty gray sweatpants too. It's okay. Ooh. I'm gonna try this. Oh man, I could have done 3 of a kind. I'm stupid as shit. I'm not very bright, chat. I'm not very bright, but wait, hold on. I could risk it all right now. But I don't think I want to. Oh man, let's all wear the everybody wear the slutty gray sweatpants right now. Should I see if I maybe get a flush out of this? Actually, I think I might cry if I don't. Hold on. You know what? Maybe I'll do this. In like best case scenario, it won't destroy this and I'll get a 3 of a kind with some aces. Oh, that was awesome. That was really sick. Yay! Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants 2, the slutty gray sweatpants. Yeah, exactly like that. Whoa, incantation. Destroy 1 random card in your hand. Add 4 random enhanced number cards to your hand. Don't mind if I do. That sounds badass. Yeah. You know what? This is gonna come in handy because we're stacking some fat paper. Wait, hold on. Oh, I guess I have to be patient for that. Should I open a buffoon pack? Buffoon pack or celestial pack? Let's do a celestial pack. I want to do flush. I think that's a good idea. With the way we've been going. All right. No, I don't need it. Can't believe I got caught slutting it up. Only in a Hamela Hampter stream. Wait, hold on. This could be sick. Give me a second here. Convert the left card to the right card. Give me that enhanced ace. It's all about that ace, I think I'm gonna use this. I think I'm gonna use this. Yeah, that was the best case scenario right there. Although, now I just got a bunch of bullshit in my hand. That's okay. Do I risk it? I'm gonna risk it a little. That was really stupid, and you know what? That's okay. That's fine. That was risky. 2 pair! But it's okay. It wasn't that risky. It was just dumb. It was just dumb. Ooh. Okay. That's pretty good. I'll take that. Oh, chanting. Oh, I haven't seen Arrested Development. Yeah, I want to use this. What? Yeah, no, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. I also need to watch It's Always Sunny. Select 2 cards. Convert the right to the left. Ooh, I do like that one, but I don't have any good cards. Hand says 2. I'm thinking. Have to watch it. It's funnier with every rewatch. I notice new jokes every time. What do I watch it on? I'm running out of stream. I like got canceled a bunch of streaming services. I'll just do this. Season 4's on thin ice. I get it. Netflix. Okay. This is true. This is true. Straight. 3 of a kind. Full house. Let's do this. No. Ooh, okay. This isn't too bad. If I get a queen, though, that would be really sick. See, this is really sick. Play that straight. Yeah! I love Balatro chat. Oh my god, $20! We're stacking it! Ooh, plus 12 mult if this played hand contains a straight. Ooh, I do like doing Pluto in a pinch. I played on the airplane, it's awesome. I know, I was like at a New Year's party, and I was like kind of crashing out a little bit because I really wanted to watch Stranger Things finale. And so to occupy my hands, I was playing Balatro a little bit because I don't know what it's like to be social and leave my house. You know what? Sure, we got a lot of money. Let's fuck off with it. Ooh. You know what? Sure, that sounds awesome. 1 in 4 chance for each played 8 to create. I don't think I really need any of these. I don't think I need any of those right now. Play only 1 hand type this round. Ooh, that's difficult. I could play a 2 pair pretty easily. I guess it's 2 pair. Welcome back, Ad Gang. Oh, this is sick, actually. Oh, hold on. I'm gonna do this. Awesome. How much money? A lot. Wow, I feel so rich. We could get more? I'm so greedy. Happy Financial Domination Friday, Hammy. 69! You know what? I'm gonna show off. Let's get the fucking blank redeem. Hell yeah. Let's buy all of these because we can. Random Joker card, random Steel card. We have a lot of clubs, so why don't we make it more clubs? That way, if we see a Joker that's like, hell yeah, clubs, we can go for clubs. Since chat isn't donating, Hammie getting money from the outro? No, we can't say chat didn't donate. Heather and Malice are carrying me tonight. Let's see. 3 of a kind, straight, pair. Do a straight. Let's see. What do we want? What do we want here? Wahoo! I'm gonna be risky. I'm gonna be risky. Is it gonna pay off? I think it's gonna pay off. Yes. It's gonna pay off!
Alice tipped 3.33 USD. I'll get a boyfriend to give me money, then I'll give that money to you.
Yes! That's the perfect, it's the perfect ploy! Thank you, Malice. I appreciate you. Hell yeah. when you find a boyfriend, you gotta be like, okay, just so you know, you're financially supporting both me and my streamer, my hamster. Or just, you could like, just be like, hey, just so you know, I have a hamster, okay? And sometimes we're gonna have to buy things for the hamster. And then when he asks if he can meet the hamster, then you bring him into Twitch chat and he crashes out. My Oshi is part of the deal. Oh, and I can name 10 things us girls need before they ever need a man. You guys are funny. You're so funny. I don't fuck with glass cards. Eat a dick. Let's see. Okay. Ooh, add a red seal. That could be really nice. Create 2 copies of... Hammie's like your Tamagotchi. You gotta feed her and give her gifts. Yeah! It keeps my spirits high. I'm so excited for Pissman's fidget spinners. I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna be going crazy town on those fidget spinners. I just need you guys to know that. I'll turn on the camera and I'll fidget spin for the ham cam. Just for you guys. I'll do sick tricks. Do I want a red seal or do I want 2 copies of this guy? I kind of want 2 copies of this guy. Does that make me crazy? Let's do a flush. Guys, I'm feeling guilty for not drawing tonight. We're doing our best. We're doing our best. Wild card. Ooh. I'll save that one. I'll save that one. 7, 8. I'm gonna get rid of... Oh, that sucked. That sucked too. But that's okay. We will rebuild. Wait, hold on. No. Okay, hold on. 2 pair. I absolve you of all guilt. Thank you! You know, I know you haven't seen It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but that's a quote from my favorite episode where Charlie drinks a bunch of gasoline. That's incredible. I've been meaning to watch It's Always Sunny. I've been meaning to, I promise. Chat, we might be in trouble. Wait, hold on. No, we might not be in trouble actually. Can I use this or will it override my bonus? I hate this, but dated language, that's okay. I think I'll live. It'll be okay. How the gate are not role models. That's really funny. See, that was a good idea though. I'm glad I saved that. It came in clutch. Holy crap, we are stacking. Oh man. Ooh. I could do judgment for funsies. Let's do judgment for fun. Wait, hold on. I want to use it for funsies. Oh, okay, that's fine. That's cool. I'll take it. I really don't want it to get destroyed, but you know what? That's pretty awesome, I guess. 2 pair. Yeah, that's 2 pair. Nanner. You know what? Fine. Whoa. That sucked. That's okay. Let's do Molt card. Yeah, sick. Okay. Ooh, what if I did this? What if I got a little funky with it? What if I got a little funky with it? No, we're not gonna do it like that though. Okay. Okay. Yeah, good, good, good. $30? I wish it were that easy. Gives a total sell value of all your Why the hell not? Why the hell not? Rerolls cost $2 less? Why the hell not? Oh, the nanner self-destructed. If only it was that easy. True. I kind of do High Priestess. Ooh. Planet cards or tarot cards? Yeah. Ooh, okay, okay. Let's do a flush. I've been having fun with the flush. Okay, we want to increase. Ooh, we could do this. I want to do this. Molt cards. So we'll do this. No, I don't want to do that actually. Oh, we need a queen. Sorry, I'm indecisive as hell. But also, I could do this. No, I want to do this. Hold on. I think I'm gonna have to just do a pair. That sucks, but it's okay. It's okay. It'll be alright. We will rebuild. What's happening? We're playing Balatro because I have a short attention span and I didn't feel like drawing. Oh man, I'm really stumped. This is not the greatest. I think I'm gonna have to... At least I got 3 of a kind, I guess? Oh. What's the stock market? Well, at least we can do this. At least we can do a 2-pair. Woo! Okay. See, that was our first, like, hard round. You know what? I'll take it. I'll take it. We still showed it who's boss. We still showed it who's boss. And got $27. I have so much. Oh, yeah, I want this one. We probably won't hold on to it, but... this is good for now. It's good for now. A little insurance. Well, cards or lucky cards? I don't really need any money. Let's just do this. And you know what? Maybe we'll get another 2, 3, 4, or 5. Can you share some of your insurance? I don't have any. Of course. Of course. This is probably our best bet. I should be coming. I used to work in insurance. It was kind of awful, actually. If I could share insurance, I would, though. Everybody deserves to not have to pay full price for healthcare. Anyway. Full house! Healthcare is expensive. Okay, let's see. Wow. That's a pretty good 2-pair, actually. Oh boy. That's also a good 2-pair. Nice. Just buy my pills and grill and that's all I need. That's literally me! That's me! I buy my pills and I grill and then I play Balatro instead of draw. And then I also, I take naps. Whoa. Oh man, this would be pretty good. Okay, what if I didn't want this anymore and I wanted the +1 hand size? Actually, no. Fuck this card, I don't want it anymore. I'm rich, so I can make these kinds of mistakes. I think we should probably do. And instead of drawing, I'm watching you play Balatro. We're all helping each other out a little bit. Let's do a flush. I'll take this. This is fine. Could be worse. Alright. 1 in 7 cards get drawn face down. We can do a flush. Cheerleaders would be dancers in an RPG, right? Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, because like in Final Fantasy XIV, they give you buffs and stuff, so... Yes, I want you. I want you. Double. It's a max of $20. Whatever. I'll take $20. $20 is $20. Choose up to 1 of 5 playing cards. Sure, why not? Ooh. You know what? Sure, this is fine. I do like myself a good planet card. You know, maybe I'll draw after this. We'll see. Oh shit, it's already 9 p.m. Hi, Mohammed, welcome. Yeah, whatever. Full house. I feel like I'm getting a little cocky. Sorry I'm late, I missed the go live. No, you're okay. Thanks for coming by. You never got to apologize for being late or missing a stream. If it makes you feel better, I didn't stream the thing I had intended to. Maybe I'll work on some Puyohams like during the daytime this week. That'd probably be a good idea. Hey, my glass card didn't break. I'm so rich. This is awesome. Ooh. Oh man, this would have been good if I had it earlier. But since we didn't, we're gonna not bother. Maybe I should high card it. I always get worried. So I'm like, high card, you should definitely level it up just because if you get in a bind, then, you know. No, you're like one of the 2 to 3 streamers that I feel a pathological compulsion to at least count as a viewer for every stream. Well, you're a real one. You're a real one. That makes me really happy. 2 out of 3 people? That's a tiny margin. That's pretty awesome. I'm gonna regret that, but you know what? I am not immune to a shiny polychrome Joker. I can get rid of the juggler for that. Wait, hold on. We need a Joker. I'm gonna try for a Joker. Yes! Wait, huh? Oh, I don't have a king! Oh, I'm not very bright. That's okay, that's fine. I should sell that. Ooh, this is gonna be tough. This is gonna be a little tough, but we'll be okay. I think we'll be okay. I'm getting nervous. Orange Hamster? I don't think it's gonna save me this round. I fucked up big time, chat. Hammie, wake up. You fucked up big time. Puyo. Orange Puyo. I'm gonna put him on my shoulder. You fit perfectly there. He's in my hair. Alright, chat. Can I get myself out of this one? Mm. I'm gonna do something. I gotta do something. Hold on. Okay. I'm thinking. So... Oh, this I might have fucked it up. Hi, Raph! Welcome! Oh! Okay. It was fun. The Balatro. It was karma that I lost this round. It has to be. It has to be karma. Because I was supposed to be arting. And I decided to play Balatro. And then the game was like, you dumbass. You dummy. Dumb hamster. But it is fun. It was fun. I got cocky. I got too cocky. Should I make a Puyoham now? I could make a Puyoham now. I'll make a couple. Why don't I call it Balatro here, and then I'll actually make a couple of Puyos. I love how this was supposed to be a Puyoham stream, and I come back to Balatro. I have nothing to say that I can defend myself with. Change the category to art. Okay, now I have to do it. Okay, give me a sec. Oops, hold on. Whoa! I spent $2,500 at the shop. So I unlocked another voucher. That Joker was sassing me. I hate that. I have thin skin. Be nice to me, Joker. Anyway, yeah, you can fish. Remember? We can fish. So I'm gonna pick a couple of Puyos off of my list here. And we'll make them tonight. We'll do probably like 2 and then I'll probably finish up. Did I just briefly get blasted with Emmerich de Borel? Did it show you my desktop? I really hope it didn't. How do you capture Clip Studio Paint? By the way, I can only make it work by capturing the whole display. Let me take a look really fast. Give me a quick moment. I captured the Clip Studio Paint window as a whole. Why are we sorry? We're okay. Yeah, no, it's just, I just captured the whole window. If you keep having trouble though, let me know and we can troubleshoot. But yeah, no, I just have a window capture for it. Oh man, if you start doing art streams, I wanna come watch. Okay. So let me look at my list here. Let me look at my list. Oh, I chew on my pen. Let's make... We have a lot of people wanting to make a boob. We want to make one of boob. So I think I'm gonna make the boob one tonight. Give me a sec. I think I have reference. I have references, so I'm gonna double check. Courtesy of my sea kissy. Give me a quick moment. I'm so sorry. It's gonna be like... Yeah, here we go. Alright, we're gonna make boob. Yeah, Mr. Bark, it's okay, buddy. I hear you grumbling. You're okay. Boob's gonna come in here and be like, what is happening? And then I have to tell him that 3 people redeemed him for a Puyoham. Okay, we're gonna make Boob now. Where should I put him? I gotta make him a little smaller. Okay. What color should Boob be? I'm gonna use his hair. We don't have any brown Puyos, do we? We don't have any brown Puyos. Okay. We'll make a circle. We'll make a circle. I like this color. It's kind of like a coffee color a little bit. It's like a coffee color. And actually, here, we'll use his highlights as the shading of his hair. Calfee. Oh god. Remember, I can't draw. I can't draw like at all. Okay, okay. I'm gonna give him a knife and I'm really excited. Yay. I think we could do a little bit better with these stripes, so I'm gonna make their edges a little bit. Wait, hold on, I was gonna put music on. I was gonna make you guys listen to my, like, emo bullshit playlist. We're gonna do that, we're gonna do that now. We're gonna do that now, okay? Oh, we gotta give him glasses, too. Can we listen to the one meme song you wished wouldn't come up? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I would be massacred. I would be massacred. We can't do it. We can't do it, chat. We can't do it. I'm gonna do the face, like, in another layer. I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. I want to make him smug. Guys, Boob got me the Jack in the Box keychain today. He got me the Jack in the Box keychain today, and I think that's very awesome. Boob is so awesome. Boob is the best. Hold on. I gotta give him stars. And then I'm gonna give him a knife. I'll give him a knife. Okay. We got the brow line glasses. I want to see this band again. Driveways? I went with Onee-ham in Super Manager. And we got to meet the band and they were really, really nice. We were really, really nice. Or they were really, really nice. You look so smug. You can't hear it? Oh, is it because I turned it low on my... Okay. Try now. Is that a little better? It just was really soft, I think. Actually, we're gonna do... Actually, I didn't mean to do that. Well, we'll use this to fill the ears. And he has lots of earrings. So we gotta give him earrings. I think I saw a chat earlier and I think I missed it about Puyohams wearing jewelry. I think you guys wear jewelry. I think you guys wear jewelry. I think I like putting accessories on these little guys. I like it a lot. Oh, I should give him a fang. And then I also need to do... Oh, it's the new Renzoto-san! Guys, this sounds so fire. If you guys are interested, he's one of my Oshis. He has like an ear cuff thingy. Oh, whoops. Hold on, I got an idea. There we go. When your money gets funneled to your Oshi's Oshi, it's a pipeline. It's a pipeline. I'm gonna give him a knife. And it's gonna be like, what do you have there? A knife. I'm gonna do this. Take us back to the 80s. VTubers passing around the same $5. So true. The VTuber community is so funny. We really are all like birds of a feather. Maybe I'll make Nina next. Yes, Faba Boy. Yippee. Hello, Owen. Welcome, Raiders. Oh my god. Hi, guys. I hope you had a wonderful DDR night, Owen. Raiders, how are you? Did you guys have a good stream? Hello, Aquawaffles. Hello, Impossible. Hello, Folk. Hello, Seishun. Slacked off and talked about anime again half the time. You are in such good company today, my friend, because I was supposed to start drawing like 2 hours ago, but then I yapped and played Balatro instead. And now I'm listening to Fall Out Boy while I do maybe 2 of these Puyohams. Welcome in. I hope you guys had a good time. If you need a raid and run, I completely understand. Or if you need to grab a meal, grab some water, just take care of yourselves, please. Love my Puyoham so much. Oh, I'm gonna get him out. I'm gonna get him out. This one's a freebie on me. This one's on the mouse. This one's on the mouse. I'm putting him here. So sparkly, it's true. Look at it, my little meow meow. Oh, whoops. Also, I apologize, ad game. We're gonna be having an ad coming up here in a second. Be strong, okay? I trust you. Okay, I think this might be good. He has a tattoo. I'm gonna try and recreate it, but I don't know if I'll be able to super do it, but we're gonna try it. He has like a neck tattoo. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. I bet he'll like it. I bet he'll like it. We did one! We did one! Okay, hold on. I don't know if this is gonna hide everything, so I'm gonna just do this really, really fast. Hey, it's the old loading screen. Wow, this playlist really likes Faba Boy. Let me check. Okay, yeah. It's 2 Faba Boys in a row. Okay. We're gonna do a Mina one. I need to get a reference of Mina really fast, so give me a quick second. Casting out, cause this is our culture. Whoops. Didn't mean to delete that. I think I'm gonna make it black. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Actually, I'm gonna do this, and I'm just gonna open up her reference in my browser, so you guys won't see it, but it's definitely there. Oh, I want to give it a black face really bad. That's Mina. Let's shout out Mina. Is this Mina? Yeah, this is Mina. She's gonna see that and be like, what is Hammie up to? What is Hammie up to? We do love her. Oh my god. She just got a gifted sub? She's awesome. She's so fun. That's really funny. Gonna go follow? I love Mina. She's a good egg. I need to check the TikToks she sent me. I gotta make her smug too. Sorry, I can't get this to come out though. Wait, is that? I would. Maybe I should. Maybe I should draw the eyes first. And then we're gonna make our stripes red. Because what else would they be? What else would they be? Oh, I don't like that red. Hold on. Also, this is my big, like, not emo music technically, but there's like a lot of rock and punk rock in there too. How long is this playlist? It's pretty long. I've been working on it for like 500 years. It has 16 hours worth of music on it. Would be red. Also, Mina's favorite color is green. Mina's so funny. I don't know where I could fit. I also really like the color green. Should I give... I'm thinking. I'm gonna... Man. I'm like, part of me is kind of like, I think I should give her normal hamster ears. Because I can't give her a headband because she wears a crown. I'm gonna draw the crown first and we'll figure that rest out later. Because I really want to draw the crown. That's what I really want right now. Big fat fucking bone to pick with you, my... Oh no. In case you haven't heard, I'm sick and tired of trying. I wish you would take my radio to bathe with you and ready to fall. So cute. Hold on, I got an idea. Is that also... It's the jade green. I could have guessed that. It's a good color though. It's a good color. I like my autism I'm gonna show for a second, but like Link Tunic green, like Ocarina of Time, that green that's kind of bright but not like lime green. Love that. Love that. In case you haven't heard, I'm sick and tired of trying. Yeah, like forest green. Could take my radio to bathe with you, plugged in and ready to fall. Actually, I could just give her bunny ears. Plugged in and ready to fall. She's very fluffy ears. Fua fua. There we go. Ooh, thank you. I don't know where to test it right off the top of my head. Can I just use this? Can I use hex codes in here? I don't know how to use this program. Don't laugh at me, okay? Maybe it doesn't. I'll save them. I'll write them down, though. Can also try and copy and pasting on Google and seeing if that's the right color. You're right, I'll do that. Give me a sec. Well, yeah, just like that. It's like that. Thank you, Kitty. Let me take some water. Take some water. Let me drink some water. I just went crazy town on my water. Could make mistakes for sheep. Count me away. Guys, this song was on my Tumblr. This was my Tumblr music for a really long time. Oh, thank you for the shrimp check. That felt really good. I feel marooned in this body. Deserted, my organs can't go on without me. Find these wounds. Tumblr intro profile song. Yeah, it was my Tumblr profile picture, and my entire layout was Kaoru and Shinji from Evangelion. And there's a little glimpse into my sick and twisted mind if you wanted it. For sheep, count me away before you sleep. I'm trying to think. I also, I remember my old Zanga. I had a Link and Zelda layout, and, I had Wake Me Up When September Ends. And I don't know what the correlation between the two was, but I felt pretty awesome. Oops. Let's make it a little darker, actually. I'm pretty sure my last Tumblr layout I had before I jumped ship was Nozomi Love Live. And I think that's just the way it should be, you know? That's the way I lived. Welcome back, Adgain. I hope you are well and enjoyed your ad break. Oh, this one's a blast from the past, too. Fua fua. To throw my creators, masochists, to which I cater. You don't need to bother. I don't need to breathe. Or is it B? I'll keep slipping further when I hold on. Hello, hippie. I wish I had a reason. My flies are open season. Well, this I gave up trying. I miss this song. This is a good song. They used to play it in not the radio necessarily, but you would like go into like a department store and they'd be playing this and you'd be like, this is kind of dark. How goes? We're going good. Doing pretty good. How are you, hippie? I hope you're well. Making some mascots tonight. Oh wait, here we go. We want this. Puyo! We Puyoing around. We're making Mina. Hold on, I gotta give her eyelashes. I think she deserves some cute eyelashes. I'm good on the way to a podcast interview. Ooh, good luck. That sounds like fun. I bet you're gonna do great. So now I get to watch the hams herself. Well, I'm glad. Thanks for picking your free time to hang out with us today. Interview to get into the podcast, or is the interview the podcast? I am gonna give her a little makeup. I think, yeah. Let's give her a little bit of it, a little itty bitty makeup. Getting interviewed by them, so I'm gonna say how I watched your stream to calm down. Yes, send all that traffic to me. I won't complain. Never, never, never. Let's see. So she has a tail. I'm gonna make it. Oh God. She has a tail. Oh, this color looks so much darker when it's up against white. That's really funny. What sun's... Oh! MCR time, chat. This one came out cute. I'm happy with it. It came out... I've been knocking these out a little bit, but... Hold on, I'm gonna... She has earrings. She has earrings, so I'm gonna draw earrings on her. Cute. And then she's got lip piercings, so I'm gonna do them like this. Cute. I kind of want to give her a ribbon too. Because she has the corset, but... thinking. And that be another memory. Whoops. Can I be the only hope for you? Can you're the only hope for me? Wait, hold on. I'm gonna do something. I think I might animate the wings. Is that too much? You guys won't see me do all of that, but... Do you like long or short-haired Mina? I'm a sucker for twin tails. So I like both, but I really like the twin tails quite a bit. See me smile, I still Think of the guns they sell. There's a place that I could be. Then I'd be another memory. Can I be the only hope for you? Okay, hold on. I agree. I like all of them. I like all of them. I am actually... I want to get another hairstyle at some point too. I just haven't quite decided. Each haircut is justice. Then I'd be another memory. Can I be the only hope for you? 'Cause you're the only hope for me. I hope to walk on a road. 'Cause the only hope for me is you alone. It's so cute. I like it. Okay, give me a sec here. Okay. I'm gonna do this for myself. I am just the planets running around you, spinning around you. I always feel bad when we listen to music on stream a little bit because I'm always like, VOD Gang really gets the short end of the stick. Yeah. 'Cause you're the last of a dying breed. Better names on the wet concrete. I wonder if a therapist knows everything about me. I'm in the search of your glory. It's been a million before you. Sorry, I had to think. Last of the real ones. You're just the last of the real ones. Wait, hold on. That won't make a lot of sense, so we gotta fix this. There we go. It's not true, even if it's not true. Yeah. You're last of a dying breed. Our names on the wet concrete. I wonder if your therapist knows everything about me. I'm in the search of your glory. It's been a million before me. The love that never walk away from. You're just the last of the real ones. You're just the last of the real ones. Just the last of the real ones. There we go! animate that off screen. Beginning of the end. What end of infinity with you? The beginning of the end. The end of infinity with you. Okay, I think I might do one more tonight. I'll do one more. Let me look at my list really quick. Why don't we do Haro? We'll do Haro for the last one. Because that one's pretty straightforward. And then I'll work on a bunch more off screen. Oh, this song rocks. Hamela, Genki. Hammie, you're doing amazing. Thank you. I'm trying. On the way, changing the on a bend tail and break. Hi, Johnny. I hope you're doing well. But I hope you know that I can see. Woo! Mr. Bark, are you going to say hello to Johnny? No, he came to me. He's kind of a circle. Swear if my motherfucking Twitch crashes one more time. No! Why is Twitch being a hater tonight? Does Twitch not like me? I think this goes all the way around. Harold. I gotta make him shiny because he's robot though. Me now, so I'll let you go. But I hope you know that I can hear your ghost. It's singing, welcome home. I didn't know that you were better on your own. Watch me throw away the key. You're so full of hate, full of misery. Wait, hold on. He has red eyes. I like him. It's singing, welcome home. I didn't know that you were better on your own. He looks really high. What are we watching, listening to? Oh. I'm gonna make, oops. I'm gonna make his ears the little, I think. Hold on, I think I'm gonna need to redo this. Oh, I I dropped my tablet pen. Oh, okay, I see what's happening here. Ron layer moment. You know what? I think I need to make the eyes a little bit brighter red. Look at that little round fella. Yeah, that's my buddy, Harl. Hi, Sterling. That's also my buddy. Cause I want it to also look like a Puyoham. I don't want it to just be Harl. What if I put him in a hamster ball? Maybe I'll give him stripes. Maybe I'll give him red stripes. No, I don't like that actually. I have an idea. I have an idea. What did I do? Oh my god. Out of control. Okay, we figured it out, chat. I'm doing this on another layer really quick. I know it probably doesn't make a lot of sense, but it does make him look more like a Puyoham. Oh, this album is so good, chat. Go listen to Motion City Soundtrack's newest album that came out like 2 months ago. It's very good. I mean, you don't have to, but I would be glad you did. Particle physics, I just can't get enough. Patrick Stump's on this track. You can probably hear him. Doctor in the house who can figure it out. PhD to get me if you get me. Oops. This weeby is my weeby. Sorry, I had to think about it for a minute. I don't think I did enough. This! Just can't get. say in the summertime. It's all... How do we feel about the Haro Puyoham? He looks kind of sad. Need a PhD to get me, if you get me. I like him though. Chai, I think that might be where I finish up for tonight. We hit 3 hours. I played high level slime. That's him. I played a lot of Balatro. I did a lot of yapping and I got 3 Puyos done. I'm truly sorry it was not more Puyos. But tomorrow we'll be back at it again with at Krispy Kreme and play some 100 line. Thank you for the head pats. Thanks for streaming. Have a good night. Thank you. You have a good night. Thank you guys for the head pats. I'm going to find some Hammie to raid into. Let's find some Hammie to raid into. I said that kind of weird. Oops. So I'm still boogieing into particle physics. Let's see. That Haro Puyo is the best yet, you think? I'm glad you think so. I like the Haro Puyo quite a bit. I'll have it redeemable next stream. I should have it all set up and ready to go. Also, Mr. Bark's fur is so pretty. Do you want to see it up close? Look at him. Mr. Bark is technically a shiny corgi because he's a sable corgi. He has an undertone of black in his fur. Or it's like really, really dark brown, but it's kind of blackish. So he's like, that's a really rare corgi color. Oh, Mr. Bark, Mohammedans, I would love to give you a treat. Are you gonna say thank you? Here you go, Mr. Bark. One treat for you and a pet from me. Oh, thank you for giving him a treat. Hi, doggy. All right, guys. Let's see who's going. It looks like Moy is going. We haven't raided into Moy in a while. Let me look around just to make sure. Yeah, let's raid into Moy tonight. We don't really get a chance to do that because I think I don't know. Me and Moy just don't overlap a lot. I need to finish Moy's Puyo though. Okay. Anyway, guys, let's raid into Moy. Moy's playing Marvel Rivals tonight, and then I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll get this corgi back to where he needs to go. I'll be live tomorrow with 100 line. I promise I won't get distracted next time. But thanks for coming by while I drew and yapped and played Balatro. I had a lot of fun. You guys, though, you have a good rest of your night, and you know the drill. I've been lurking. Thank you for the stream and the bootyful Puyos. Thank you. Until then, be good, be safe, and most of all, be kind. And I'll see you tomorrow. Good night, chat. Good night.